Well, good morning everybody, welcome back to another video. So I want to start this video off today by just thanking the sponsor of the video, and that's FLM Canada. Now the story goes is that a little while ago I got my eyes on a tripod head which I really liked the look of. Now because of, as you know, I've recently changed my camera systems and I'm still in the process of saving for my third and probably final lens that I need to complete my kit. So this particular tripod head was a complete luxury and out of the question for me, but you can't help but wish you had one when you see one. So this, what I've got here, is the FLM GE73 Pro geared head, and I decided that I was going to reach out to FLM and see if they would let me borrow one, a loan one, to try with a view to buying. And that conversation went backwards and forwards between FLM Canada and FLM Germany, and in the end FLM Canada very kindly agreed to send me one, and so I've got it with me today. I'm very excited to try that. It's a beautiful thing, it's absolutely engineered to perfection, and it's, most importantly for me, it's half a kilo lighter than my previous ball head that I've been using probably since Word Go. As a photographer, I've probably had that same head, so it's been very good to me. It's been very robust and lasted me a long time and still continues to provide good service. But that weight is just something that I really am looking to reduce in the future. Now, as you know, if you follow this channel regularly, that I'm very much into precision when I'm taking my images, and anything that can slow me down, such as a geared head, I'm more than happy to try, because I just like the whole process of working slowly, and a gear head certainly makes you do that. In terms of the ball head, it's very quick and to get it into position, and one of the disadvantages with the ball head is that when you lock into position you do get a bit of a drop where the weight of the camera falls onto the tripod, and you do get a bit of shift. Now over the years I've become very good at compensating for that, but needless to say it's never been ideal. So with this I can very precisely with the knobs get the camera exactly where I want it. Now before we get on to today, I just want to again thank FLM Canada, particularly Ari, who has sent me this, arranged this for me. There is a discount code that I've managed to get approved with them, and I think that is, I'll put a link in the description below and I'll put it on screen now. It's 10 for Simon, which gets you 10% off. There's also an affiliate link available, and you can use that, and I get a little bit of commission for every sale that's made, and as far as I'm aware, that 10% still applies if you use that link, so that's just fantastic. Now FLM don't just do really nice geared heads like this, they do a full range of tripod heads and tripod head accessories, along with they do also do their own tripods, so do check them out. That's FLM Canada. So without further ado, let's get out and let's give this beautiful thing a go and find some images. So I may well have just found my first image. I have to say it's not been easy. You can probably see in the background that there's a lot of sunshine hitting the ground, and obviously the woodland environment is not the best place to be when you've got lots of high contrast, but I've been concentrating my efforts, and behind the camera, just directly behind it, is an area of pine woodland, and obviously with pine trees this time of year you get lots of shade on the ground, so I've been focusing my efforts in that area, and I've been struggling a little bit up until now, and I've just come across this little muddy hollow just here, and there's a small delicate little fern that's fused to the mud. There's a few pine needles on top that need to be moved. The mud is quite reflective. Hopefully I can deal with that with my case polarizer, but with the movement of those needles, I think this shot could look really lovely as long as I can control that reflected light. So I'll just quickly show you the shot now, and then we'll get something set up. So just down here is the shot that I've seen. Hopefully at this distance you've picked it out, but it's this little fern frond just here in the mud, and you see these bits of needles that just need carefully teasing out so that the frame is uncluttered. Obviously the little video camera can't get close enough to really frame it as I'd like. Let me just see if I can zoom in. Oh no, there we go. There we go, that's a little bit better. So I'm thinking something along the lines of that. Very, very subtle, really subtle shot. But the fern is in really nice condition, as far as I can tell from here. So let's get the camera out and give that a go for our first image. So the first thing I need to do is get my tripod roughly in the right position before I even start to get the camera out, because I always find that's worth doing, because once you get all the camera on all the gear it becomes quite weighty and difficult to maneuver. So I look at roughly where I think I'm going to want the sensor plane to be in relation to the subject, and then set everything up with the tripod first of all. And I think that leg is going to need to go quite high up to enable me to get low enough for the image, and just release that off there. Now, of course, I'm using a brand new head, as we know. I think that's the right way, and if I release that off there, I can then rotate that over the top. Just shift that around a little bit. I think that's probably going to be where we're going to be, thereabouts. Yeah, it's not going to be a million miles away from that. Well, I would be a liar if I told you that that was beautifully easy, smooth, and without problems. But I have to say that's really down to my incompetence of not being familiar with this. I've not really played around with it at all since it arrived. But now I've got it into position, it really is a dream. The camera is pretty much where I set it a second or two ago, but the amount of changes, the amount of varying different bits of knobs and buttons and things to get this into position, I'm amazed that it got to where it got to. The ability to change just about every angle conceivably possible within the head is really quite something. And that's not to say I wouldn't be able to get it with my ball head, and I probably would have got there a little bit quicker. But now that it's in position, those fine-tuned movements really are a dream. So before I take this shot, I'm going to hopefully get you a video view of the back of the camera using this. Last time I tried it didn't work, but hopefully I've got a fix for that now, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of the composition in just a second. Right, so I've got this now recording what I see here. This is using the Hasselblad Focus mobile application. The problem I've had in the past is that when I do the screen record with the Focus mobile application open, I've only been able to record for a very, very short period of time, and what I've found is that the video has cut off partway through me talking to the camera, and I've lost just about half of what I've said. So I gave up with it. Anyway, some tests at home have resulted in me finding that if I use airplane mode, which I presume stops all the other apps and everything talking to the internet, as seems to have created a fix. So it's obviously something to do with the memory, the computing power of this particular phone. Anyway, without further ado, it's recording, so I will show you now what we've got. So I'll just take it off again. I've put the case magnetic polarizer on. You can see there how much reflected light there is on the surface of the fern because it's still quite wet. Pop that on, and as we revolve that round we can control the amount of light that I want. Now I don't want it completely black, I don't think. I think I do want a little bit of modelling, so somewhere round about there, and that's where a CPL really comes into its own with that type of work. We've got complete control. Now obviously the problem that I talked about, the pine needles. I don't even need to point them out. You can see that they're an issue. They're practically a big blot on the landscape, so to speak. So I need to carefully move those out of the way. So rather than you having to suffer me picking away with a little pine needle to get them out, I will get back to you in just a second. So that's them dealt with. What I used in the end in my bag, I've got a little pocket secateurs, and within that is a little penknife that flicks out, and I was just able to lift them out of the way. It wasn't easy. There is, actually, I'll just point to it. I'll just get a little pointer. There is an area just here. You see there's a little trough mark where I pulled one of the bits of grass out. But had you not known that was there, you probably wouldn't look twice at it. There is still another little bit down here, tiny little bit there that I'm still not overly happy with, but that would just, I'd destroy the smoothness of the mud by trying to get that out. So I've got to live with that. So as I focus through, you can see that for the most part the sensor's nice and flat to the surface, so there's no real need to do any focus stacking. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this beautiful tripod head just to modify the angle of the fern, because I want a slight bit more of a diagonal, if I can get it, and I'll just rotate that round. Which is nice to get a strong diagonal in the shot if you can get it. And just move that up. As you can just see top left there, you've got another bit of grass just creeping in, and again top right. You've got to be really mindful of these things. And I don't think that is a million miles away. Yeah, I think there. So like I said, the polarizer is doing a sterling job for me there. We'll just get that where I want it to be, just so it's picking the nice details up on the edges of the fern, but not so much that it completely blocks it out. So I'm thinking somewhere in the realms of that. Just adjust the exposure. That's probably too much. I want to keep it at that, and you can see I'm actually on f16, 100 ISO, and a 4-second shutter. We'll just zoom in, and I'm going to focus on that rib, top of the rib, and there's my first shot. So hopefully that's come out. It's a single shot, no need to focus stack, and I will put that on now. Now it could be argued that I could be considered mad for coming into woodland and trying to photograph in these real contrasty conditions, very, very difficult conditions, but I was convinced that I would find stuff today because the ground is so dry underfoot. The things that I had in my mind's eye were definitely available today, and that's some of the really old decaying leaves and the colours and textures that they bring to an image. Now just down behind the camera, I'll just flick you around. So just to the left of my camera bag, left and down a bit, you'll see there is a lovely chestnut patch of colour just in all amongst the paler leaves, and that there is two beautifully coloured sycamore leaves. Now if we just move that one out of the way, because that's not bringing anything to the table, you can see, we just get a little pointer, you see these three veins, 1, 2, 3, you've got a nice curl of a leaf coming over here, and then you've got these veins coming up here. Those two leaves interplay with each other really beautifully. Now I'm not going to show any edges, I'm just going to be showing the main parts of those veins and completely excluding the edges altogether. I think that's got a lot of potential, and that will make a great end to my video today. So I'm going to get the camera out and get that all lined up. Now, like all things macro, they can take quite a lot of fiddling, and that particular shot I've actually taken it because I was concerned that the sunlight was moving across and I was starting to get some light on the upper part of the shot. I'll just turn you around. That light is now gone, fortunately, but yeah, you can see the camera very, very close to the subject indeed, and this is a focus stack. It had to be at that distance. If you look at the height difference between various parts of the shot, there's quite a lot in it, so I've had to be really, really careful that I've taken enough shots to cover everything to stitch it all together. Now, interestingly, when on about this new head, just look at the adjustments that's been made to get that into position. I have to say, I think you can tell I'm really impressed with that. That has taken quite some doing. The refinement of being able to tweak the composition so finely really does make a difference. It's definitely slower, there's no question about that, but I like that. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, all in all, quite a rewarding experience using that new head and getting the intricate adjustments that I needed to get just the right composition. So I'll show you that now. Right, finally into position. I've had to create a softbox out of my linen cloth there, which is just draped over an ash twig, just to create some soft light, because in the time I've been taking this, the sun has started to drift across and causing problems on my scene. But I'm just going to switch it onto the back of the camera view now so you can have a look at the composition. Now this software doesn't put the crop modes on that I've got on my camera. At the moment I've got the camera set to 16:9, so I'll apply those crop modes on here now, then you can see what I've got. I'm just going to brighten that up a little bit. So you can see the lines that I was talking about on the image that I really like. You've got the anchor point, which is this line here and this converging one here. You've got that nice fold of the leaf going over there, like I said, and these interplay beautifully with these three lines coming down on the right hand side of the frame. Now, what I really like is the way that the leaf at this end here, you've got these two little splits that just hold that central part of the frame together, really lovely. But for me, the main part is that lovely curl of the sycamore leaf edge there. Now I have got a polarizer on, I've got the case CPL on, and that's just, if you can just see there as I turn it around, it's just helping to create some rich colours to the surface, just taking off that light that's bouncing off the surface. In terms of settings, I actually took this at f16, 3-second exposure, 100 ISO, and I can take that off now, I don't need it. But all in all, I think that is a really, really lovely shot, and when processed, I'm sure I will be very happy with that. 100mm macro, like I said, CPL on there as well, and f16, 100 ISO, 3-second exposure, and a focus stack of about 6, I would say, in order to get that full depth. Hopefully I've covered everything with 6 shots, but there becomes a point where you just feel like you're taking shots for the sake of it, and often repeating the shots that you've just done, just in different parts of the frame. So I will put that on now. So I hope you liked that image. I will just show you this just very, very quickly. This is literally just a big sheet, and if you've not seen an earlier video where I use this, what I've done is I've stitched some little pockets at various intervals along the top, and the idea being is that I can put sticks in, and I can just put the sticks in the ground, place this on the top, and then weight it down with some stumps, some tree, you know, some heavy branches or some rocks, and it just creates that lovely, nice, big, soft light over my subject. Costs nothing to buy. So I'm going to leave it there and say thank you all so much for watching. Leave some comments below, let me know what you think of today's video. If you're enjoying the intimate landscape, don't forget to check out my ebook available on my website, www.simonboothphotography.com. And and I will see you in the next one. So until then, bye for now.